Fat Dag is a Weight Watchers leader in Indianapolis, Indiana. However, the views and opinions expressed during this podcast are his own. They do not represent the views of Weight Watchers. And now, here's your host and wingman, Fat Dag.
I am your host, Fat Dag. You're listening to Wise Advice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at fatdag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, all at Wise Advice. Send in your comments, your questions, your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. That's right. I believe in you. It's that simple. That is what I try and get through to every single person I talk to. I believe in you. You can do this. Welcome to episode 234 of Wise Advice. We're recording this one in the middle of the afternoon on Wednesday, which doesn't happen very often, but decided to go ahead and record it and let you guys watch live. So there's a handful of you on Instagram, about 50 or so hanging out on Facebook, and maybe a couple or so on YouTube. So it's kind of fun just to see everyone here in the middle of the day. Hopefully, if you're at work, hopefully your boss approves. I happen to be off for the day, so that kind of makes it a little easier. But I got a couple emails that came in today, actually, and I said, I want to bump these to the front of the line and put them on the show today. So I want to kind of go through them, and I'll give you a little teaser. At the end of the second email, there's going to be something that I'm going to share with you that I've shared with only one other person on the planet. That's it. Only one other person on the entire planet knows this. And now I'm going to kind of give that to you today. It's kind of I think it's going to be kind of fun. So let's do this. It says, "Good morning, Fat Dag. Hey, I've been meaning to write to you since the San Francisco tour to share how this one event impacted me in such a powerful way. First, I was so excited when I heard you were coming to San Francisco in November. I didn't know where, but I knew that I would be there. Fast forward to the week before, I had met a friend in a WW meeting and we agreed to go together. She was validated. She was on WW, but the night before she got sick and I was going to be on my own. Also, at this time, Northern California was on fire. There was an assault in Southern California. Quite frankly, California was a mess. But you were still coming. After all, you told us you would be here, and you not only are a WW, but you're military. The day before your flight was rerouted, and the day before all the emails were coming in, they were fast and furious, finally saying that you would be here. We would meet. Plan B was on since the run was canceled due to smoke, and as true as to who you are, you didn't cancel. You're military, and military doesn't quit. The morning of the day that I'd been looking forward to for so long, I woke up at some ungodly time like 5:30 a.m. to head out on my own to find Chrissy Field in San Francisco by myself. A scary thought. My thought was, as I opened the blinds, well, of course I'll go. Oh my God, he hasn't let a reroute, smoke, and a canceled run stop him. Oh my God, of course not. He's military. I got in my car, Googled Chrissy Field, and roared away when all of a sudden, my tire warning light came on telling me my tires were low. Next, traffic comes to a dead stop. In my mind, I was wondering, were these signs telling me to abort the mission? Then the thought was, no, Fat Dag is coming. He didn't abort, so I'll keep going. Google and I traveled on until I missed the quick turn off of Chrissy Field. I ended up on the Golden Gate Bridge. I continued on, made a U-turn, ended up going through a journey through a lovely housing development, finding my way to the parking lot in Chrissy Field. Now, at this point, I don't know where in Chrissy Field we were meeting or where I was at Chrissy Field, but as I looked to the right, I saw a crowd of blue t-shirts, and I thought, maybe that was the group. And it was. That day was one of the top 20 days in my life that I will cherish, from the chatting, meeting the infamous Lee, the beautiful Palace of Fine Arts, the circle of sharing at Starbucks, the 151 stairs up to the Golden Gate Bridge. All 40 of us walked, talked, shared, came from all over California because you said that you were coming. And because of you, my thoughts the next morning as I reflected, Jane, you said you're too old. You aren't in great enough shape, but you're at 64 and you're doing it. You're eating healthier. You just traveled. You met strangers. You climbed 151 steep steps. Fat Dag, this event had so much impact on me and my life, not only for this event, but how it correlates to my WW journey. Stay the course. Do it because you said you would. Because you are impacting someone you don't even know. So all I can simply say is thank you. Enjoy your day, Jane. Jane, what a lovely surprise to find in my inboxes this morning as I woke up. Truly, this was, you guys know, I did the 2018 international tour. I went to, 8 different cities and ran a 5K in all of them except San Francisco. And of course, the run canceled that. And you're right. It was kind of, I'll be brutally honest with you. When I told the world that I was coming to San Francisco, I wasn't even convinced when I said it. I made that decision back in March timeframe, right? And so March, planning a November trip in my life, that's not usually how I do things. So it was interesting in that sense to go, okay, I'm actually going to commit to this. And you're right. I gave you my word and I said I would do this. It's fun to see Jane now interacting live on Facebook as I read her email, which is kind of cool. But as I was going through the motions of saying I'm going to do there, I know what's at stake for all of us. We're a community of people who understand each other. No one understands us like we understand us. And so for me at this point to not go through with my word to something I said I was going to do, well, certainly that was not going to happen. And I got to tell you, when I started planning these trips, as you know, most of them didn't really come true until about a week out because I had to make sure I could get there because I absolutely didn't want to cancel. I didn't want people flying in, driving in, and me not be able to make it. So you're right. I get to the airport and the airport gets there and I get to the airport, I find out my flight was canceled. And so I was supposed to go from Indy to Chicago and then Chicago over to San Francisco. And I ended up going from Indy to Charlotte, which is the East Coast. And then from Charlotte, all the way across the country to the West Coast. And it was just something that I just had to do because I knew I needed to be there with you. Every single one of these events that I've been to, it's just as impactful for me as it has been for everyone else in the group. And I think the coolest thing about it is, and I put this on a post a little later, is I show up and nobody knows anybody in this group. And you're right, the blue t-shirts help. I swore up and down forever I would never sell t-shirts. I'm not in this to be the t-shirt guy. But the beautiful thing of the t-shirt is it makes it very easy for us to find each other because we're all wearing the same thing at this event. So I get there I get there. No one knows anybody, and we simply start chatting, start taking some selfies. Everyone's happy, and then slowly but surely, what happens is because there's like 30 or 40 people in the group, and I can't talk to 40 people at a time. You guys start talking to each other. That's the power of this. That's the most beautiful thing in this is that you start talking amongst yourselves, and then quickly it doesn't matter if I'm there or not. That's the most interesting thing for me is that all of a sudden it's not about me, it's about us. And to me, that is the absolutely coolest thing we did. And so as we know, our run was canceled. We know that. We had the opportunity, we walked up to a Starbucks and Steve was an amazing tour guide. He took us up there and we took every chair in the place, right? We took the whole patio. We put them in a big circle of about 40 of us, like you said, and we went around the circle one by one, sharing our journey. Who we are, why we're here, what are we doing, how are we doing it, what's the most impactful thing we've had in our life, and I tell you that the power, the emotion from that, probably a good hour and a half or so, as we sat there just pouring our hearts out to complete strangers. That's cool. And so that's what this day represents. That's what the 2018 International Tour represented. It's just a community of us getting together, sharing ideas, sharing stories, and finding true wingmen in and amongst the crowd of people that we already are hanging out with. So no, we as we walked, we talked. You guys, you didn't come from all over California because I said I was coming. You came, you showed up because you believed in yourself. That's what it's all about. You wouldn't show up for this event. You wouldn't, ignore your tire warning. You wouldn't come to, driving through crazy neighborhoods if you didn't believe in yourself at least a little bit. And so the fact that you were able to get through there and make it to the event tells me all I need to know. It tells me that you're locked in. It tells me that you're focused. And it tells me that you believe in you. And that, my friend, is what goal feels like. That's what's going to keep you going at 64 years old. I would not have guessed that, by the way. You are doing it. You're eating healthier. You traveled. You met strangers. You climbed 151 steps. You did that. You can do all that again. You can do more than that. You can do whatever you put your mind to. So, Jane, truly, it was an honor to hang out with you. Thank you so much for being there. Thank you so much for your note. I'm planning a trip back that way. No promises, of course, but I'm planning it. That was one of my favorite stops. I want to go see that city when it's not, I have more time, and two, when it's not full of smoke as well. So thanks for your email for sure. Folks, this next email is going to be a little bit difficult for me to get through because it's actually handwritten. It was handwritten, scanned in, and so it's going to take me a second to get through it. But it was important enough that I actually totally want to share it. So bear with me as I stumble through it because it's a little bit a little more difficult than when I do them for the show. I make them a 16-point font so I can read it. But this one was just too good to not use. And it's from Sharon, and I don't know if Sharon's with us on Facebook or not, but Sharon, you can tell she's listening to the podcast as she's writing her notes, because there's some notes in the margins that talk about some things that are related to the show. But she opens her email with, "Dear Mike, I've lost 100 pounds, and I only meant to encourage my husband when I joined. You see, I'm a people pleaser. Since I was a little girl, I was trained to be obedient, to study hard, to be self-disciplined, hard work and success, and to give back. Well, actually, giving back is what I learned in my 20s, not from my family, though. The things I learned from my family of origin, my mom and dad and my younger brother, didn't always help me have a good self-image, and now I know this is what we all struggle with. An Al-Anon friend told me, make the next right decision, and I realized this is how we overcome addictions and evolve into a better person. Once we learn how, slowing down our lives and making decisions one at a time with our goals in mind, we can overcome anything. And our focus is the ability to make those choices instead of living our lives on autopilot. Well, autopilot is how I was eating when I started this journey, and autopilot is how I'm eating now, but my choices are 1,000% changed from my old autopilot. I was feeding my emotions and not my body. I ignored my body, but no one else did. At 5'5", 285 pounds, my mom hounded me on a daily basis about how I was ruining my life and the life of my family. Okay, I can already hear you questioning the statement, but we need to go back to to where I told you I'm a people pleaser. My whole body and mind take in everyone's subtle glances in their questioning minds about my abilities. I'm overly sensitive and still very hard on myself. You see, my mom and I were exchanging daily emails because she's, in writing so that I could read it over and over, but she felt a need to direct and control my life from afar. We live states apart, so I thought these emails were keeping us connected. We have written almost every weekday for more than 25 years. Over that time, I'm sure we both said some terrible things. You're probably asking, who are these ladies and what a weird relationship they have? Well, at 56 years old, after losing 105 pounds, I tried to heal my personal relationship with my mom over Thanksgiving. After driving to Ohio to visit family, she became defensive and argumentative. She's dealing with grief and physical pain, but she has never been overweight. I thought mistakenly that she would be more accepting of me because I lost the weight, but she treated me worse than ever. In fact, when we pulled into the driveway after our 3 days in Ohio, I had to take my things and leave. She hadn't said much to me for a couple of hours. She had sobbed and told me she hated me and that I was crazy and that she hoped I didn't kill myself. We were supposed to shop for 2 more days in Indianapolis. It was Friday afternoon around 4 p.m., so I checked into a hotel to assess my emotions instead of driving 9 hours home. I stayed 2 nights. I ate well. I got a manicure. I had a late lunch at my favorite restaurant. Mom thinks it sucks. And in Indy with my favorite stepbrother, when I head home on Sunday morning, I was shaking, but I was also healing. I am so strong now. I'm learning so much from you, Mike. I wanted to write this not to heal me, but to heal others, to give them insight into the mother-daughter relationship. It was time for me to break a family cycle of control and manipulation. If I never lost the weight, I always would have thought that my weight was why my mom didn't like me. She likely has the onset of ALS, so maybe she thinks, maybe she likes me, maybe she doesn't, but it doesn't matter because I like me. I have the biggest, best group of supporters, and I'm only 30 pounds from goal. Here are some of my non-scale victories. I can cross my legs and wear cute clothes. I can run and ride everything at the amusement park. I'm becoming politically active. I'm planning for retirement. I travel, one of my original whys. My relationship with my husband is better, and we're talking about everything. I don't have secrets. I love my job. I want to help my community. I do not control my daughters. Mike, this is just the first of many letters that I owe you and the WW community. I am proud of what I'm doing, and I hope this touches more women in my shoes. Everything is possible because we are warriors. I love you and the wingmen. Good focus to all. Sharon. Sharon, thank you for that incredible heart pouring out email. I love it. There's a lot in here that you said that I think I want to focus on. And let's start with the part where you said you like you. That's powerful. That's the most important thing that I ever want you to get out of this journey is that you understand you, you love you, you know you. That's the piece that you got to get to. And I'm so glad that you get there. And I apologize that it comes at the cost of the email that it came at. But you're absolutely right. As we evolve in this journey. We start this journey for one reason or another, and slowly but surely things change in our life, and to overcome addictions and to overcome struggles and to overcome mental abuse, we have to evolve into a better person, and we do that one single day at a time, one step at a time. And so just make the next right decision. You can't control anything that happened previously to you, but you certainly can control how you react. You certainly can control what you do next, and you have the ability to move on from there. So that paragraph that you written right there is absolute gold. We can take our mind, you can overcome anything, and your focus has the ability to make choices instead of living our lives on autopilot. So many things that we do are habit driven, and what we need to do is we need to get to the point where our habits carry us to goal. And so right now I ask you, the things that you do without thinking, are they helping you get to where you want to go, or are they pushing you further away? You want to get to that point where you are on an autopilot in a sense, but the autopilot is things that are healthy, getting you to go back and getting you into go into the right direction. Now, you and I have a lot in common. I'm a people pleaser as well, and I want to share something with you that I said in the opening of the show. And so, we're at the same point, and so we get to the point where we want people to like us, right? We want to share, we want to help people. That people pleaser mentality, but I tell you, it doesn't fit into the weight loss journey. There will come a time as you're losing weight, people start noticing and complimenting you. And then you start doing more and more and more to get some of that. And simply what happens is you get to goal, and sometimes a lot of that goes away and you have to kind of reassess. But as you went through your whole life and, you interpreted everybody's subtle glances and you were questioning their mind, in your own mind, their abilities. And what I mean by that is, and I can relate to that, is so, and what happens is as you know what's going on in your mind, and you try and read someone else's mind, and you think that they're thinking about you. And so that causes us to kind of get a little bit defensive and a little emotional. And if you're a people pleaser, that's painful. So the words that I always try and give in this kind of scenario is like, listen, you can't please everybody. And so there's no way you can please everybody. You've heard the expression, right? Who cares what other people think? Now, people pleasers, when we hear that sentence, we go, well, I do, right? We want to please people. That's in our nature. But I'm telling you right now, as probably one of the biggest people pleasers on the planet, you will not ever be able to please everybody. It's not going to happen. And you have no idea who those you aren't able to please will be. They could be related, they could be friends, they could be complete strangers. But you have no ability to choose them. They're going to choose that based on their own mind, their own life history, and there's not a thing you can do about it. So what I want to share with you is where I learned this the most is I learned it on Connect. And so as the follower count started growing up, the best thing, the absolute gift, I mean this with all sincerity, the gift that was given to me was one simple sentence. And it came completely out of left field. It completely shocked me. And for a moment, it derailed me. But as I look back on it now, I can tell you it's the single most powerful thing anyone ever said to me. And what they said was, Mike, you're drinking your water too fast. You need to change up how you drink water. And they went on about how I was drinking water incorrectly. And so, as you know, if you watch the show, when you do it live, I open the show with guzzling a jug of water. And someone let me know that I was drinking water incorrectly. Now, I don't want you to simply dismiss that, because what I want you to understand is if something so simple, so basic as my way that I'm drinking water is going to have someone have a reaction and then to correct me on how I do it, there's nothing else that I can do on the planet that's more basic than that in life. I guess the next thing is, Mike, you're breathing wrong, right? So what that meant to me, that the greatest gift they ever gave me is they gave me the permission to dismiss them. They gave me the permission to go, you know what? There will be people on this planet that there is not a damn thing I can do to please. The freedom, the absolute freedom that comes from that is incredible. So how do you relate that to your journey is you got to get to the point where you are doing this for you. And you're pleasing you first. And other people who want to be pleased, who want to follow along, and people who say, they want to be inspired by you, let them follow you as you do it, but don't change who you are. Stay true to you. Stay true to yourself. Stay true to your journey, because that's the person you're going to live with for the rest of your life. For the rest of your life, you have you, and that's the only person that you'll have for the rest of your life. So continue to cross your leg, continue to wear cute clothes, continue to run and ride everything at the amusement park, be as politically active as you want to be, plan for retirement, travel, do all the things that you know you can do, and just know that what you're doing is winning. The power, the freedom that comes from winning and pleasing yourself is what I call goal. It doesn't matter what you believe, it doesn't matter what other people believe. If you are believing it and you're living it and you're liking it and you're loving it, celebrate that. That's where the power comes from. So keep up the amazing work. And if Lisa's still here, her and I had a great conversation about that today. And I said, we went on. And, I'll go one step further. I shared with her, today we mourn the passing of President Bush, and half the country is happy. The other half of the country is in mourning. Right? So you can't please everybody. Up until the day you leave this planet, you're not going to please everybody. Find the person who matters the most and that you can continue to celebrate. So what is it that you're celebrating? Let's share it on the air. Go to fatdag.com, click on the Wise Advice Podcast link, send in your celebrations, your comments, your questions, and I'll work them in as part of the show. I want you to email in your celebrations because I want you to be absolutely proud of what you're doing. When you're proud of what you're doing, what that tells me is that you believe in yourself. What that tells me is that you understand where you're headed and what you're doing works for you. Keep up the amazing work. Well, that's going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. I wish you good focus. Thank you for listening to the Wise Advice Podcast. Did you know for as little as $1 a month, you can take the next step as a wingman and support the show? Visit fatdag.com, click on Become a Patron today.